I think of 3 or 4, but I'm not going to waste the time. I'm just thinking here in terms of seeing that we get some attention to the Simpson Lane project over there. It needs help. I'm thinking of some of the projects we're going to have further down the line. Maybe this would be the point at which we would actually say, yeah, we understand, we feel your pain. We see that this just doesn't fit. It's an oddball kind of relationship. It might be a good investment to be cynical about it, perhaps, or to be realistic about it. But I just think here that Caltrans has responded, I think, to the county in situations where they could have just dug in and said, well, it's too expensive, it doesn't quite fit in, and so forth. And I know our Director of Transportation here is, he's got to be diplomatic, and I appreciate bringing this forward in the way you have, but I would support this. I think here that we are looking at the need to have better working relationships with various agencies, and I think it would be appropriate for us to invest in this particular thing in the name here of developing the kind of relationships that we talk about all the time and don't always have, with the expectation that when Simpson Lane comes along and needs to be taken a little more seriously than it has after what, how many years, 15 years? That maybe we'll get just a little more of a nudge here in the right direction. But I'm sensitive to the fact that it will cost us some money to keep it going. But again, it is something that's an anomaly and something that Caltrans should not have to deal with. So I would support it.
Thank you, Supervisor. And seeing no other comments from the board, I'll go to the public. Is there any members of the public wishing to speak to this item, relinquishment of this section of state highways? Okay, seeing no one come forward, I'll bring it back to the board. Supervisor Delbar.
Well, Mr. Chairman, again, recognizing the comments made by the board and mine as well earlier, I would move that we respectfully decline the offer to take over this segment of Talmadge Road from the state at this time.
Okay, and that is a motion?
I'll second.
And there is a second. Supervisor Pinches. Discussion to the motion from the board? Seeing none, call for the vote on the motion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
No.
Okay, motion passes on a 3-2 vote with Supervisor Colfax and Smith dissenting. Thank you for your offer and your time, and I apologize for having you come back after lunch for disappointing news, but I do appreciate your offer.
Well, thank you. Now, is there any good other time? Is there a time framing that we could actually?
Well, we can talk about coming back in the future. They left that out there.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, and one item before Howard leaves, we'll show receipt of the DOT Director's Report. Any comment on the DOT Director's Report? Hearing and seeing none. Thank you, Howard. We'll show a receipt of your report. At this time, we'll move to a notice public hearing at 1:30. We're running a little bit behind. And this is a public hearing to discuss possible action regarding ordinance amendment OA1-2008, which would amend the provision of Chapter 20, Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, Mendocino County, regarding child care, daycare facilities. The modifications are proposed to reflect changes in state law regulating such facilities and their permitting within local jurisdictions. At this time, I will open the public hearing, and to the clerk, any additional correspondence or telephone calls as of today?
No, we do have proper notice, and we have not received any additional information.
Okay, thank you. And to the staff, could you introduce this item?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a proposal to update essentially the county's permitting process for child care facilities. The state has modified their regulations to broaden, I guess, to implement the legislature's intent that that values child care facilities, both large and small. The state has in their regulations have divided up, if you will, large from small daycare facilities. Currently, the county code says that 6 or fewer are exempt from any permitting requirements, whereas the state law has been modified to essentially say that up to 8 children within a home is exempt from state law, finding it that that's equates basically to a single-family dwelling, and that no discretion on the part of a local jurisdiction would be appropriate for such facilities. They do provide some options for facilities that are from 9 to 14 children, and the options are that you can find it that it is in fact exempt and no further discretion would be required, or you can require a permit for such facilities. And there's a couple facilities that have gone through the public hearing process in relatively recent past, wherein there's been some neighborhood concern about the fitting of those facilities within the area. Typically, the concerns are parking and noise, safety from the for the kids, and those issues are usually addressed through a public hearing process and conditions of approval. The state is limiting what a local jurisdiction can review in any permit process to basic health and safety. There's some standards that you can use for noise, but those have